Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brad, and today I'm going to answer a question from the Circle community. If that's what you're looking for, stick around. So I run a little Circle community, and a question came up from one of the Circle members. What 5 ETFs, if I could only hold 5 ETFs, would I actually hold? We had lots of different answers, so let's dig into my answers. My answers, though, I broke it down by age. Just because I'm older in retirement doesn't mean that somebody younger needing some income might look at other funds or have a little more risk tolerance because of their age. So I broke it down by age, and I broke them down to 20 to 30s, 40s to 50s, and there you go. We're going to do one more, and it is 5 years to retirement. Where are you in that journey? Because each one has a totally different risk tolerance. Keep on trying to tell people that, but they all think that, a 60-year-old should invest like a 20-year-old. No, if that's your thought, you are sadly mistaken. We all have different risk tolerances, so let's answer the question, which 5 would I look at? And if I was a 20 to 30-year-old, I'm going to look at some of the leveraged funds from like YPay. And then I would do something like TDAC. I would do QQQI or the new boosted fund coming out. But that's if I was younger and I had time for recovery. I would also choose one of the Bitcoin funds. I always say we should all hold a little bit of Bitcoin, but if you're younger, maybe you hold a little bit more because that's all down to your risk tolerance. And you know what? Even if you are younger, maybe you don't want that risk in your life. But hey, I say in 5 years, probably Bitcoin will be worth more than it is today. And then you should choose one of the AI funds. And I'm going to list those out for you later on, but you should probably have something in AI. Remember, I've always said 130 to 200% of your income needs, great. Everything else should be in uncapped growth. At least with YPay, you're uncapped, but it is leveraged, but it's a totally different risk tolerance when you're in your 20s and 30s and you're looking for income. Now, if I was in my 40s and 50s, I pull back a little bit because now you're getting closer and closer to that retirement age. QQQI, TDAC, one of the gold funds, because the debasement trade is a real thing. K Gold or IAUI from Neos. You can hold a Bitcoin fund. Whatever percentage that is, totally up to you. BTCI has been doing very well. Again, one of the funds from AI and a chip fund maybe. Soxy, Chippy, FEPI, AIPI, GPTY. Take your pick. Not here to give any type of advice. This is only Brad out on the internet. This is just what I would think of in your 40s and 50s. That hey, you want exposure to the upside. You want QQQI, TDAC, gold, Bitcoin, and one of the AI funds. At least that's where I'm thinking that somebody in their 40s and 50s may want for income exposure. For growth exposure, hey, maybe you want the same type of exposure, just not in anything that gets capped. Maybe you even use a leveraged fund at different times depending on your risk tolerance. Now you're going to get 5 years from retirement. Things change when you got to start taking distributions for retirement because you don't have time to recover in the market. The market goes down, well, you might not be able to recover. So in 5 years to retirement, we have our core holdings and we're going to have satellite holdings. Different little concept that I thought I would try to explain in what I look at in my investment. But let's look at core investment. These are my core that I would have 5 years to retirement or in retirement. Let's walk through these. So the first core is going to be QQQI. You had it when you were younger. By now, your cost basis should be down because you've been averaging down every time there's a dip. So you should have a very low cost basis. So QQQI should be one of your core holdings, just in my opinion. The next one is TDAC. Again, it's on the Qs, paying 17%, and QQQI pays 14%. Remember, you're only trying to take 8% for your retirement. You're reinvesting the rest into something, or you're holding it in cash, waiting for it to dip. The third core holding in retirement, or getting close to retirement, is PFFA, preferred stocks. Risk to reward just happens to be one of the best preferred stocks, in my opinion, or ETF on preferred stocks. Number four is PBDC. This is a business development company, or a basket of business development companies. Again, we're doing a little more diversification because we are closer to retirement, and you don't want to go 100% risk on in retirement because you don't have the time to recover. The last one that I'm going to throw out is you should have some Bitcoin or gold as part of this diversification play near retirement. Now, your percentages are up to you, but you could have BTCI, you could have one of the gold funds, and you could do whatever percentages you want, but you should have probably some Bitcoin and some gold. And those are my 5 picks for 5 years to retirement. Now, let's talk about your satellite holdings, because satellite holdings can actually help you along in this whole entire journey. So you should have a theme. So the first one you should think about is having a theme. That theme should be whatever you want it to be, actually. Maybe it's Omaha. There's tons of theme ETFs out there that might be right for you, but might not be right for me. My theme right now is AI. And again, you got the chips and AI. Take your poison. Pick a fund. Figure out which one you like. This is totally up to you. You pick who you want to do business with. You should always think about that. The next satellite should be at least Bitcoin if it wasn't part of your core holdings. You should have at least a little bit exposure to Bitcoin, whatever that is. Just saying. It has been one of the best assets over 15 years, but the last year hasn't been the best for Bitcoin, but it could be a satellite holding if that's the way you want to treat it. Another good satellite holding is, hey, maybe you want some Ethereum exposure or Solana exposure, and you can get Ethereum through ETTY or blocks. And if you want some Solana exposure, how about SOLM? Again, this is on crypto, so you got to be able to be willing to hold and ride it out. Just saying that if you go into crypto winter, you've got to be willing to average down and live on that 8%. Keep in mind, these funds are paying about 36%. So you can really go down a lot and be able to average in and get a lower cost basis. So please start out with a satellite holding and work your way out and average down over time. The last satellite holding that I'm going to bring up is silver or silver miners. This is something that's out there, again, on the debasement trade. The next 5 years, maybe you want 1 or 2% in silver so you can have silver exposure. It's more volatile than gold, and it really gets you that 17 to 21% in a distribution rate, all based on the volatility of silver, and that changes over time. So there you have it. Those are my picks. If I was 20 and 30, 40 or 50 or 5 years to retirement, which I'm in because I am retired. Now, I did mention that circle community. You can click the link down below to join us. We have great conversations every day, and I look forward to seeing you there. Until the next video, God bless.